turn it over to Mike Antonovich.
Thank you, Zev. Let me say the board shares those comments. What's taking place in Sacramento today is really highway robbery of local government's resources. And it's because they fail to do the structural reforms that we in local government have been able to do year in and year out. I might point out that the state workforce exploded by 24% between 1997 to 2007. That was a 24% increase. Prison guards received a 37% increase. And while they say the 2/3 vote has been a prohibition against getting budgets passed on time, California still has one of the highest gasoline and sales taxes, the highest business taxes in the West, and we are up to the second highest income tax in California. And while they blame Proposition 13 for this, property tax revenues went from $6.4 billion in 1980-81 to over $43 billion in 2006-2007, which was a 600% increase. But when we talk about all of these increased revenues and increase in state spending, what we do not find is that the state is imposing the reforms that is so necessary to be done. They have over 300 commissions, over 300 commissions that have not been eliminated. Some of those pay as much as $132,000 a year when they ought to be paying a $100 stipend as other commissions in local government has paid. They are now issuing I.o.u.s. Well, the state I.o.u.s are now being traded on Wall Street for 95 cents, some as high as, or I should say as low as 80 cents on the dollar. That means we are losing money, and we find as of July 10th, many of our banks are not taking the I.o.u.s anymore because they know they're worthless. And yet they expect local government to take these I.o.u.s and continue to operate our public safety, our healthcare delivery system, our foster children and other vital service programs with worthless money. I might add that the state has over 79 agencies and departments that have no need to be in existence, many of those. They need to do what the County of Los Angeles had done and consolidate many of these. It makes no economic sense to have 3, 4, or 5 agencies providing resources to an individual or a community. They need one agency to do this and eliminate the fat in the other agencies. And when they talk about across-the-board cuts, that's stupid. What they need to do is eliminate those departments that are not a need, and those that are of need, perhaps they have to have less of a reduction to get those services provided to the people. It's quite ironic that of the 4 states that have full-time legislatures, 2 of those don't have a budget today. New York, California. It's time to go back to a part-time legislature. It's time to have an end to term limits so we can have seasoned legislators up there representing their communities. When I was in the state legislature, you had Bob Monacan, Robert Moretti, and you had Leo McCarthy, you had Willie Brown. Differences of the philosophies, but yet they were able to work and get budgets passed. They were able to provide that leadership because they were not burdened by term limits. We also need to look at reforming civil service laws. Along with that, structural changes, structural reforms need to be a part of any type of state budget that's going to be adopted, and not just have the highway robbery of redevelopment monies. You, the media, and the public need to have the light shown on what's taking place in Sacramento so we can have an uprising before it takes effect, so the state can make those necessary structural reforms and not leave us with what happens at the end of a parade where we have a shovel and we have to clean up what was left by the horses. The state legislature and the governor has a responsibility to provide leadership and the direction to have structural reforms so we can all work together to provide those services that are necessary and eliminate the fat and the waste that exist at that level. I'll turn it back to our Assistant CEO, Sharon Harper.